Welcome, thinkers and changemakers. Today we're reimagining classrooms, not as factories of uniformity, but as ecosystems where every kind of mind thrives. Inclusion isn't a buzzword, it's a revolution, one that honors cultural identities, neurodiversity, and the 8 brilliant ways Gardner says we all solve problems. Imagine two saplings. One gets sunlight, the other thrives in shade. Force them into the same soil, and one withers, but nurture each in its niche, both flourish. That's inclusive education, designing classrooms where both the poet and the coder find their light. Let's ground this. UNICEF defines inclusion as real learning opportunities, not just shared space. UNESCO takes it further. It's about dismantling barriers, poverty, language, displacement that lock students out. Think of it this way. A school in Nairobi teaches math using local market examples. A Toronto classroom uses snowshoe designs to explain physics. That's inclusion, rooting lessons in the soil of students' lives. Here's the pivot: inclusion isn't integration. Adding a ramp to a building isn't enough if the rooms inside stay unchanged. True inclusion rebuilds the entire structure, like Universal Design for Learning, UDL, which doesn't retrofit but prepares. Offer content as text, audio, drama. Let kids prove they understand through rap battles or robotics. Flexibility isn't a concession, it's respect. Equity and cultural responsiveness are key pillars in creating an inclusive educational environment. They ensure that every student, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to succeed and feel valued in the classroom. By addressing individual needs and respecting diverse cultures, educators can foster a more equitable and responsive learning experience. Let's talk equity versus equality. If 3 kids peer over a fence, equality gives identical boxes. Equity, the shortest gets a taller box. In my class, that meant letting Maria, a Syrian refugee, write essays in Arabic first, then translate. Her voice wasn't less than, it was multilingual. 2 months later, she debated in English. That's the power of scaffolding dignity. Cultural responsiveness isn't Taco Tuesday tokenism, it's weaving heritage into the curriculum's DNA. When we taught colonial history, a student shared her Maori ancestors' letters. Suddenly, history wasn't a monologue, it was a dialogue. That's how you turn outsiders into co-teachers. Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences aligns seamlessly with the principles of Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. By recognizing and nurturing diverse talents, we can create a more inclusive and effective educational environment. Gardner didn't just expand intelligence, he exploded it. Let's meet his 8-word wizards: number ninjas, artists, musicians, movers, empathizers, self-reflectors, and nature decoders. Meet Javier, labeled distracted until we let him build a biome model. Turns out he's a naturalistic genius. Now he's our go-to eco-blogger. UDL in action. One topic, 8 doorways. A lesson on photosynthesis becomes a song, a lab experiment, a graphic novel. Assessments, podcasts, dioramas, peer-taught workshops. Rigor isn't rigidity, it's depth through diversity. Confronting barriers and mutual upgrade. But let's confront the boulders in the path. UNESCO warns, poverty starves potential. Language barriers mute voices. Implicit bias writes narratives before kids speak. I've seen it. A boy named Amir, quiet for months until we switched his math tests to Urdu. His scores soared, his confidence unstoppable. Systems must bend, not break the child. Here's the magic: inclusion isn't charity, it's a mutual upgrade. When we invited grandparents to teach traditional farming methods, our biology unit became a masterclass. Test averages jumped 20%. Why? Because relevance fuels engagement. Diversity isn't a burden, it's rocket fuel. So what's the ROI of inclusion? Academics rise, empathy deepens, schools become microcosms of the world we want. But beyond data, it's about Kai, who stuttered in speeches but slayed slam poetry. It's about classrooms where every kid thinks, I'm not a problem to fix, I'm a universe to explore. That's the education revolution, not louder, not faster, braver. Inclusion where every mind is a compass, not a copy.